Alright, what's going on guys? GdoggCasey here, and welcome to episode 1 of my Albion Online YouTube series. So, it's been a while since I've recorded a video. We're back here with another series. It's been bumpy for me on YouTube recently, and even just in general for a long time. But, you know, I've been playing Albion a lot in my free time, and I just felt like this would be a pretty good series to try to put together on YouTube, and hopefully people will find it enjoyable. I know that when I'm playing Albion, I love actually having just other Albion videos on my other monitor, just watching them while I play. This game is very, very grind heavy, so, you know, it's the type of game that you can have whatever you want on a secondary monitor, and unless you're doing hardcore PvP, you know, you don't have to have much attention placed on your game. So I wanted to contribute to that because there's a lot of series I like to watch while playing, and I've made content before, so I thought I'd give it a crack and see what we can do with Albion Online. So I created a new character. You can see in the background I'm just going through the tutorial island. Now, if you're new to Albion, the tutorial doesn't necessarily set the stage properly because it gives you quests to follow, and you're following these markers much like any other MMO that you would play. But then once the tutorial is finished, so many people are just kind of dropped into the world and they just don't really have a clue what to do. Now, this series is not going to be a guide series. I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional. In fact, I would consider myself actually pretty bad at this game. I've failed to make enough money to purchase premium for myself. So in the multiple hours that I've played this game, I've never been able to do that because I have a bit of a I like to do risky things. I tend to lose my shit a lot, and a lot of times when I have a large amount of money, I find something that I want to spend it on, so I end up spending my money everywhere, and, I've never really become rich in this game. So that's something that we're going to try to do with this series, but I want to kind of let you know from the beginning that ultimate beginners, like people who've never seen the game, you're going to learn some things from watching me, but you're also going to see me make mistakes. And it's gonna happen. Like, this is gonna be up and down series. I'm gonna have success. I'm gonna have failures. I'm gonna get ganked. I'm gonna lose important stuff. I'm gonna have moments where I'm upset. I'm gonna have moments where I'm elated, and that's kind of what I really like about Albion. It kind of encompasses a lot of different. There's a lot of different moments you can have in a game like this that you don't really get to have in other games. So, to give you the brief explanation of what is Albion about, really, once you finish the tutorial, you're just in the world, and it's on you to decide what do you want to do. So if you don't know what kind of content is available, you can get really lost, right? But essentially, the way that I want to play this series is going to mirror the way I typically play when I'm not recording, only I'm going to try to optimize it, and I'm going to try to actually do well with this series. So my goal here is, once we're out of Tutorial Island, I'm going to be following a specific build that I found online, and I'm going to show you guys that build on screen right now. Also, by the way, I'm doing a little trick in the video here. The tutorial wants you to buy a donkey, and they sell it to you for 3 silver. You can actually buy multiple donkeys, but you can't hold them all because they're too heavy. So I bought 2 donkeys, and this is helpful because once we get out of the tutorial, we can sell the second donkey and make back like 1,000% what we paid for it. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's still really nice to start with, so that's what I did. I bought 2 donkeys. I'm going to sell one later. It's going to help me with my starting cash. So you saw me do that in the background here. But essentially, I'm going to be following this build. I'm not committing 100% to this build. I'm going to commit to it at the beginning because it has a lot of upvotes. It feels like a nice, solid solo player build. It's going to allow me to do solo dungeons. It's going to allow me to do corrupted dungeons. And I might even be able to roam in the open world and protect myself against multiple gankers if that ever happens. Hopefully, anyway. That's the idea. If I end up moving on, then that very well could happen. It's almost, I don't want to say it's a guarantee, but it's very likely because of the way my mind works, right? Like, I tend to get bored with specific playstyles, so I just move on to something else. And the way that progression works in Albion is every time you do an activity, you see me mining copper ore. Every time I mine a copper ore, I get experience for mining ore. And I get a little bit better at it almost every time. Each time you level up, you get a bit better. And that goes for mining ore, chopping wood, using a broadsword, using a great axe, using a frost staff, using a plate helmet, using leather shoes. Like, it's split up, and you're going to see the Destiny board later, and you'll see exactly how vast it is and how many different things you can focus your character on. So because it's so wide open like that, and the type of person I am, makes me kind of, on any given day, I might decide to do anything, right? So for the general focus is going to be on this great nature staff build for now. And hopefully it goes well, and we'll see if we can just, stick with it and become an expert with that playstyle. But if it doesn't work, we'll just switch to something else. So that's how we're going to be going forward in the beginning of this series, and we'll see how far that takes us. So what are the general goals of this series? Well, that's a really good question, because in Albion, the goals are whatever you want. So at the beginning, which is a goal that we will have completed by the end of this video already, the first goal was to get myself set up in tier 4 gear that allows me to go out and do solo dungeons using this build. So if you don't know what any of that means, it'll come to you in time, and I highly recommend trying out the game. Which, by the way, just a little plug here, if you've never tried the game, you want to try it, it's free to play on Steam, and I think you can get it from their website as well. I will put my referral link in the comment below, or in the description below. I'm not a salesperson, I don't really like selling things, but if you want to use the referral link, it'll get me a little bit of in-game gold, which is pretty cool. So that'll be there in case this series convinces you to try the game. You can test it out. So the initial goal is we're going to get tier 4 in everything we need to get this build going. So that means we're going to be getting a tier 4 leather hunter hood, a tier 4 cleric robe, and tier 4 demon boots, as well as a tier 4 great nature staff. The rest of the stuff, will just be whatever we end up having. So in the background, you see me, by the way, just going through the tutorial here. Again, this is nothing like how the actual game plays. It's telling me to go from place to place and kill a certain amount of monsters, pick up a certain amount of silver, hit a specific level, and whatever. So this is not really setting you up for how the game is actually like, which is something that's kind of odd about Albion. But it's just letting you get used to the mechanics of actually killing things, actually mining things, collecting, gathering, whatever. So that's all we're doing here. So moving past the original goal of, getting a tier 4 set, which is something that's not that difficult, and like I said, is already going to be achieved by the end of this video, what we want to do is set up our character for success for the future. So we also need to talk about premium, because premium is, in my opinion, it's basically essential. Now, it's not really essential, because you can play the game without premium. But when you have premium active, it gives you many bonuses for fame, which is experience, for silver, and it allows you to buy an island, and there's a bunch of other bonuses. You can see me picking up the initial 3-day premium right there that you get for free when you first start a character. And every account, so every, like if you download this game on Steam, for example, you get to create 3 characters in-game. And each of them requires their own premium. So premium is not account-wide, it's character-specific. When you create a new character and you finish the tutorial, you get 3 days premium for free. It is possible, if you know what you're doing, and if you're a seasoned veteran in Albion, it's possible, and some might even say it's easy, to, within those 3 days, collect enough money to be able to purchase premium in-game. Because just like EVE Online, or just like World of Warcraft, you can actually pay for your subscription with in-game silver. And in Albion, it's actually not that difficult. Despite the fact that I've never done it, I can see that it's not that difficult because I watch Twitch streams and I see how much money some of these people can make once you actually get good at PvP, for example, or top-end content. You can make so much money that paying for premium in-game is not difficult at all. That said, it's something I've never been able to do because I always find something to spend my money on or find some way to die with all of my gear on me, and it's just not good. So I've never been able to purchase premium with in-game money. So I am using real money to purchase my first month of premium, which I haven't done in this video, but when I start the next video, I'll be on a fresh premium account that I paid for myself. And who knows, the next month I might have to pay for that as well. But one of the goals I have is to eventually one day purchase premium with in-game money on this character and maybe be able to never have to purchase it again with real money. That is going to be very difficult for me because of the way that I like to just... I always find something I can spend my money on to, you know, further my character. But we'll see. I mean, even though it's a goal, it's not the primary goal. So if I'm sitting there with like 7 million silver and I'm very close to being able to purchase premium, but something comes up and I find something to spend it on, I might do that. So, you know, that's just me kind of getting the point across that purchasing premium is not the main goal. If I purchase it, it's not like the series is over. Really what I want to do is to just be successful, right? And I don't know how long that's going to take. It could be quick if things go well. This might, I might be successful nice and quick, and we'll have to develop new goals. But for now, the way I see it going is you're going to see me leveling up a build. You're going to see me purchasing an island and trying to build the island to essentially support my playstyle, right? What I want to be able to do is afford to craft all of the gear that I need for my character so that when I die out in the open world and I get killed by other players and lose all of my gear, I can just go to my island and pick up all of my crafted materials that I can, or my crafted gear that I can just put on and not have to actually purchase a bunch of stuff and lose money each time I die. So for example, with the hunter hood, I want to be able to craft a bunch of hunter hoods, and I want to be able to craft a bunch of cleric robes and a bunch of demon boots, and everything that goes with my build. If I'm going to be having cabbage soup on me at all times, I hope that I can craft it myself. Same thing with healing potions or whatever. So the goal is to become entirely self-sufficient so that all the money that I earn out in the open world is profit, and it doesn't have to go into purchasing more gear at some point. Now that's a tall ask. It's going to be very difficult to be able to craft everything. There's, at the beginning, I might be able to craft my armor slots, but I'm still going to have to go out buy cabbage soup or whatever. So, we'll see how long it takes to get myself fully self-sufficient. But I think that's going to be a fun goal to work on, so we can basically support our lifestyle. Now, here you can see I'm finally approaching Bridgewatch for the first time. So I decided to choose my starting location as Bridgewatch because this area is in the desert. And the desert has ore that I can mine for metal. It has cloth that I can gather for cloth. And it has leather mobs that I can kill and skin. So it gives me leather, cloth, and plate, or metal, sorry, so I can craft plate armor, which is a lot of the basics that I need to start sustaining my build. So that's why I chose this location. If you're a new character, you just choose whatever you want. You can move to whatever location you want to later, so it's not a permanent decision or anything. So yeah, that's just, why I chose Bridgewatch, because I'm going to be able to go out and skin enemies. I'll be able to mine for ore. I'll be able to collect cloth. And the unfortunate thing is, with the build that I've chosen, it does require leather, cloth, and metal for my boots, my robe, and my hood, which just gives me more gathering that I have to do. On top of that, my Great Nature Staff requires wood. So I also have to gather wood, which, you know, just gives me even more that I have to do, but that's okay. And like I said, for now, we're focusing on the Great Nature Staff build, but in the future, that might change. But having our gathering stats up already is just going to benefit us anyway. So even if we change build, we'll just alter our island, we'll alter our process so that we can sustain that build, whatever one we choose, and just move from there. So here you can see what I'm doing. After I sold all my stuff to the marketplace, I came to the Destiny board, and I'm using some learning points to push myself to tier 3 because I didn't have enough experience to get to tier 3 in all the pieces that I need. So if I want to wear a cloth robe, I have to be a tier 3 cloth robe. So I'm pushing myself here. Now, most people will tell you you shouldn't spend your learning points specifically on combat-oriented nodes on the Destiny board. And overall, I tend to agree with that. But because I have a specific goal in mind, and for you guys as well, if you have a specific goal in mind, you can use learning points on whatever you want. Generally, though, you'll probably want to save most of them for gathering, because gathering, especially once you hit tier 5 and tier 6, it takes forever, and learning points can be used to, you know, cut out a significant portion of time to save you a lot of time to level up gathering. You know, so that's what I would recommend you use your learning points for mostly, and that's mostly what we're going to use them for. But we can use a small amount early on to get us all decked out in tier 3 gear, so we can go out and push for tier 4. So this is what I'm doing now. I've just emptied out my bags. I've gone on the market board. I've purchased the tier 3 armor and the tier 3 weapon that I need. I also picked up a tier 3 horse, which I'm not even capable of using right now because my adventure level isn't tier 3 yet, which will happen later on. Again, if I'm talking a lot of gibberish right now, if you don't understand much of what I'm saying, if you're new to Albion, this stuff will come to you over time. So we find a solo dungeon immediately, and this is in a tier 4 zone. So this little scenario is pretty funny, actually. You can see me not necessarily having difficulty, but I'm kind of just testing out my build. I've never really used this before, so I'm just figuring out how it works. And somebody jumps in the dungeon with me, and normally when that happens, I just leave and I go find another one. But then I realized, actually, this is a tier 4 dungeon, and I'm only in tier 3 gear. I don't even have tier 4 Reaver yet, which is going to confuse you, but essentially it just means that when I'm fighting tier 4 monsters, I'm not doing as much damage as I should be. So I decided, you know what, actually, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to party up with this guy. He's literally in a tank build, so he's tanking, and I'm in I'm not necessarily a healer, but I have healer abilities, so this is good for us. We can just go through this dungeon together. All I need is one dungeon to get myself up to tier 4 Reaver, which allows me to fight tier 4 monsters on an even plane. And all of because we're in a tier 4 zone, all of these monsters are tier 4. So right now I'm struggling, but because I have a teammate helping me, it's going to make this dungeon very easy to get through. So this is something you can do. I think that when you're at tier 3, it's a little bit of a limbo land because you might be able to find a tier 3 dungeon. I don't even know if they exist. I'll be honest, maybe they do. But otherwise, you might have to just be out in the open world and fighting tier 3 mobs to be able to hit tier 4. Once you hit tier 4, you can then come in here and do these dungeons, and it's a really good way to get your first fame. So we can see here, in the previous clip, we killed a boss. Here we're just, you know, moving through the dungeon, continuing through, and this is where we're going to hit a couple milestones here. I think this is tier 3 adventurer. Yeah, journeyman adventurer. This means that now we can use our tier 3 riding horse. We can wear tier 3 bags and tier 3 capes. The adventurer node is kind of like your overall experience in the world, and there are certain things that, like every amount of fame you get, whether it's combat, gathering, or whatever, crafting, it all goes towards your adventurer. So that's going to be the one you end up maxing up first by default. Right there you saw we got Adept Reaver. So Adept is tier 4, so we got tier 4 Reaver. which means that we're now a tier 4 monster slayer, essentially. So now we're not getting penalties when we're fighting tier 4 monsters. So we still have a teammate with us anyway. We're going to finish this dungeon with him, but in the future, we shouldn't necessarily have to rely on a teammate to get us through these dungeons, because now we're no longer under-leveled for them. So we're going to continue through this dungeon, but we are going to just kind of talk a little bit more about this series. So essentially, my plan for this series going forward is I want to be able to release at least one episode per week. My idea is that throughout the week, I will be playing on this character, and I will be either recording with live commentary, but as you might be able to hear already with my dogs in the background, sometimes that can make it a little difficult. I have a neighbor here that's got a dog that just barks like crazy. And it's literally, like, I can hear him right now with my headphones on, so I'm sure you guys can hear him. And if I just lean my head a little bit, I can look out the window and see the dog barking. And every time that dog barks, it just drives one of my dogs absolutely insane. And she's got a really high pitch, like, scream. So that type of thing happens in my life, whether I'm trying to stream, trying to record videos, whatever. So sometimes when I'm just sitting here playing and recording live, when my dogs go crazy, it makes it difficult. So I might decide on some days to just record without my mic, which is what I did for this series, by the way. Like this video, obviously the video footage you're seeing in the background is not live footage. So sometimes I'll record that way and I'll come and commentate over it. Other times I'll experiment with, just sharing my live reactions in the video as well. So we'll see. Well, it's an experiment. We'll see whether post commentary works better or live commentary works better. I have a feeling it's going to end up just kind of being a little bit of both. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to basically release these videos every Sunday and have them ready for then, so that each week we can revisit this character and see how is the progress going, what did I decide to do. And my plan for the very next video is probably going to be mostly solo dungeons in tier 4. We really want to hit Reaver tier 5 so we can go into the yellow zones and do dungeons in the yellow zone. And at some point we want to get our item power up to above 800. So once our item power is above 800, we're going to be able to do blue zone corrupted dungeons, which essentially are the same as solo dungeons, except while you're doing the dungeon, you're either going to invade another player or they're going to invade you, and you can have some PvP 1v1 practice where you don't actually lose all of your loot. So the rewards are not fantastic, but they actually are pretty consistent, and they're not a terrible way to spend your time when you're a new player or when you're low tier, and you're trying to get PvP practice and still develop your character. I think solo dungeons are overall better for fame and even for loot, but you can't really replace the PvP practice. So that's, we're likely going to be doing a lot of solo dungeons and a lot of corrupted dungeons to begin with for the next episode. And then eventually we're going to be roaming out into the red zones and into the black zones. There's definitely going to be gathering episodes as well, or at least gathering clips, because that's going to be required for my goal, right? My goal is not just a PvP. My goal is to sustain my character in this world through all aspects. Another goal I have, as this video is starting to come to an end, I would love to become an entrepreneur of some sort in this game and become a merchant for something specific. And I think that I might want to focus on mount breeding, I believe. Now, right now, my opinion on that might change, but I think it would be cool to try to become a mount breeder and make money selling mounts and show you guys how I'm doing it. And that can go two different ways, right? So I could be making mistakes and doing it terribly. So if I'm showing you guys the way I'm doing it and it's terrible, you guys can help me and get me on the right track. Or if I end up figuring out the secret and end up, you know, making bank and getting rich, then you guys can see how I've done that, and it might help you in your endeavors as well. So this video is coming to an end. We have a little bit of time left. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I know, you know, when it comes to video content for me on my channel, I know what it is, okay? You can just go look at my videos. You see the series that don't finish. You see the sporadic upload nature. That's just how I've been. I'm looking for something that's going to stick forever. So we'll see if this is it. Might as well take a crack at it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And, you know, we'll see how far we can take this and how much success we can have as we move forward and try to become a beast in Albion. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And hopefully I'll be able to keep things consistent here for you. And we'll make a nice Albion Online series here. So thanks again, guys, and we will see you next time.